All right, everybody. It's that time of the month. Time to predict the Academy Awards because we have no mouth and we must scream, or something like that. In case you're wondering why the lizard was there, he's getting extra special mention this week because they're actually showing it on British television on Sunday. So I might actually get to see it and know the wonders of it, and then see the donkey and Banshees of Inisherin, and then try and wait for that to come out on digital and we get a screenshot of that. The donkey tradition must continue. But yeah, as you'll see, hello, it's me, the host, Ashley, and on my left, on your left as you see it, on my left, wow, uh, it's like the Brady Bunch. It's AJ.
Yes, a two-person Brady Bunch.
Yeah, wow. Hollywood Squares got cheap. Everybody else got cancelled.
That was actually the original pilot, but then somebody saw the original Yours, Mine, and Ours and was like, "Oh, that's ours now. We're gonna do that."
So yeah, Owen isn't with us because he's obviously busy right now, tinkling the ivories and all that sort of stuff. So via the power of Facebook message, I guess, or email.
We have him via email.
Okay, we have his prediction, so it's all still going on as per usual. As usual as well, though, we've got you in the chat. Josephine says, "Hey, Popcast team, I've just seen Triangle of Sadness with my brother. What a brilliant satirical FU to the 1%. Very deserving at least an original screenplay nod."
I will take your word for it, Josie.
Dolly De Leon was for sure the standout, but Charles B. Dean also did a great performance. It's a shame she passed away of a mysterious illness. Oh, is this like Bardo? Is like conspiracy theory thing? Josephine also says first time watches since last being on. In the Mouth of Madness, Company of Wolves, and Takashi Miike's Audition.
Oh wow, Triangle of Sadness and Audition in the same week. That's just a fucking nightmare to me. Great.
Bry also says first up, rest in peace Leslie Jordan. I feel bad for talking smack on him now. 12, like 9 months ago when he did the reveal of the Oscars and whatever.
Yeah, I felt like I was the only one of the three of us fanboying for him. So I don't. So I have no guilt at all.
I didn't see enough Will and Grace to sort of really connect most of his modern stuff, but like having just seen one of the wrestling sort of interviewer women like literally take a photo of him the day before was like kind of sad. And then also Jules Bass, co-founder of Rankin Bass, passing away
Yeah,
today.
I just saw that. Like right before the call came in, I just saw that.
Second, I did do my predictions, but they'll be going tomorrow on Bry's channel. But Bry will still be putting them here on chat. Go show some love to Bry and his stuff. Third, good thing I'm here this time. And then fourth, which I think does feed into some of the state of the race stuff. United Artists and Searchlight have come out with their FYC websites. The big thing from the Women Talking page, Rooney Mara is leading. Everyone else is supporting, including Ben Whishaw. But interestingly, not McDormand.
What?
But McDormand is there because she's producer for Best Picture. So
It's like so they filled up on giving McDormand acting wins. Now they just want to give her picture wins.
probably, or maybe because there's like 10 or 11 sort of younger, somewhat unknown women. Bar obviously Foy and Mulligan. I
You mean
think.
Buckley?
Oh, Buckley, yeah. So I'm getting that confused with She Said because that's like also sort of complicated and it's somewhat a similar style of topic. Um, because I was trying to work out what to do with my list. Like, how many more British people could I put in? um, but yeah, McDormand isn't being pushed, shall we say. Um, doesn't mean that they'll listen, and they might put her forward in any way. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah, 'cause I don't remember her being pushed for Macbeth either, so it might just be her thing now to just not even campaign.
Yeah, it was only when it's sort of like maybe when she's a lead, because with something like it's always the double-edged sword of like Macbeth, whether you actually consider Lady Macbeth to be the leading role or whether it's a supporting role with sort of the main focus being Macbeth himself. Um, but anyway, in terms of the other stuff, we have a whole bunch of dates now for nearly all the techs and all the other ones. The Satellite Awards, which were like after the Oscars and nobody gave a damn about, have now moved back to their usual traditional spot of like early January, early in the season. So it gives us somewhat of a picture, maybe, as to what's going on. Also, the Golden Globes have made it even more annoying. We have more television categories. Um, they've
That's exactly
decided
what we need.
they've decided to split supporting actress and actor into actors in TV series, be it comedy or musical drama, and make them separate from limited series, anthologies, or TV movies.
I guess I don't hate that,
Yeah.
but yeah, just my lack of passion for TV just makes me not care that much.
Also, I can't say rip Tay Diggs, but certainly rip his involvement in the Critics' Choice Awards because it was announced, I think last week, that Chelsea Handler will be doing it instead after Tay's
Well,
4 years in the job.
I was gonna say taking Tay Diggs out of that job basically took the one shred of personality that show had. So good luck to them.
Also, considering last year it was like on TBS and TNT or whatever, this year it looks to be just on CW again. And also, the Screen Actors Guild currently has no television station. Because their agreement with TNT and TBS petered out last year. So we don't know what's happening there either.
Right. And because I feel like we say every single year, SAG's like one of the better shows they put on, and SAG's like one of the most actually important and weighty awards of the season. So this is a great sign.
Yeah,
But yeah, as long as Critics' Choice still has the CW, thank God.
yeah, true. Hold on. I'm going to quickly switch region. People will hear me and they'll hear both of us, but I just noticed that my feed was a little choppy, so I'm just switching it to try and unchoppify it ish or something. I don't know. And then Josephine also mentions about the Gotham Awards, the nominations coming out today, which obviously are more towards independent stuff, right? It's the alternative to the Spirits, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a Spirit Awards precursor.
Uh, with After Sun doing well, Everything Everywhere All at Once doing well, and Tar. And wow, Corsage made it in for international feature. Isn't most of that? Oh, is that when they said that's what they consider because it's made in a different country? It's international, even though I'm pretty sure Corsage is like. Oh yeah, it has to be because international feature also has Banshees of Inisherin. So, so it's in there as well.
I hope I'm not letting Josie down, but I'm just kind of doing what I guess the easiest thing to do is. She had mentioned the possibility of doing like a double movie club with In the Bedroom and Little Children, and I'd always said like, oh, that's probably going to be a versus at some point. It turned much to my shock and surprise, I'm actually seeing Tar on Friday.
Oh,
So I figure the easiest thing to do is make that review video just the three Todd Field movies.
the
So
Todd
I'll talk
Field
about
trilogy.
so I'll talk about In the Bedroom and Little Children, and then end on Tar. And that'll
Oh,
be
and
probably that'll video will be like over the weekend or something.
Gotham also is splitting the supporting and leading performances into non-binary categories where there will be two winners. I guess the awkward thing is if it turns out that there's two men or two women, then there'll be a lot of people complaining. Oh, hadn't
Yeah.
transitioned away from the lizard, but we were still talking, so it wasn't visual. um. So yeah, I think Josephine does say while the Gothams aren't accurate or important, it's still an indicator of like those that seem to be at least in the early runnings. Josephine also says it makes sense that Rooney's going lead because her character is pretty much the main character of the novel. And the best case scenario is Penn and Teller to host. Which category would you like to see them present?
Wouldn't visual effects make the most sense?
I mean, maybe like makeup and hair because then you could do one of their really crazy sort of bloody bits and go, "Hey kids."
Yeah, because visual effects used to be when people think of visual effects now, all they really think of is CGI. When visual effects used to be like the whole area.
Where and now makeup and hair rather than being what's the best makeup and hair is usually I'm guessing this year's favourite is probably the whale because of what they did to Brendan Fraser to make him not look like Brendan Fraser. I
So
guess
yeah, it's him
Batman
and
as well to make Farrell not look like Farrell sort of thing. It's more like it's more a case of like best hiding rather than makeup and hair. Well, it certainly seems to be. Right. I don't think there's anything else of note. Just see if we have any. I don't think we have any dates for. Oh no, Golden Globe nominations are December 12th, and when the critics. Critics' choice. We don't have any dates at all, so we don't have a clue. So now, to the picks. Starting off as ever with adapted screenplay.
yeah, I don't know about you or anybody else, but I went a direction and Owen pretty much went in a direction, and that direction is not a whole lot of changes this time around.
Yeah,
Which I could be mistaken, but I want to say that that's kind of a staple of our October prediction videos. This is usually around the time where everything's kind of in neutral.
yeah, we're sort
But
of
there will,
waiting for the things to come out, because this is when they sort of begin to. But at the same time, we're sort of seeing if anything still has legs from the festival season, sort of coming to somewhat of a close.
yeah, because there's a lot of categories I just didn't change anything, and all the other categories I did change something. It's only one change, except for picture, where I changed two things, and that's it. So I assume we're going in the same order.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
start with
go,
adapted.
and then you'll go, and then I'll say what Owen says.
Yeah.
All right. I made one change and adapted. Uh, I guess not completely yet, and maybe this is just a hype thing because it's like coming out right about now. But I'm gonna kind of test the waters on this All Quiet on the Western Front thing
Okay.
that people have been on for a little bit, and I wasn't quite sure. So for adapted, I'm gonna say All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Living, She Said, and Women Talking. The one that I took out was The Whale because I can't seem to decide if The Whale is going to be really big or just an acting thing. And right now I'm back to I started with it's just an acting thing. Then I went a little further last time. Now I'm back to it'll just be acting and makeup like we said. Um so I don't really know what else needs explaining there. So
No.
yeah, I didn't like go all in on All Quiet on the Western Front or anything, but it's here a
Yeah.
couple of times and it could probably do very well tech wise. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Ahead of it. It's the it's not. Is it cinemas this week or is it Netflix this week?
I think it's Netflix this week.
I have to double check
I don't
that.
want to be quoted on that, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so.
I'm not sure because it's like one of these. Like, is it coming out in the cinemas and then it's like staggering its release, sort of like Wendell and Wild sort of did. Um, Mine hasn't changed. It's still Glass Onion, Living, She Said, The Whale, and Women Talking. But the reason why the Whale was one I was contemplating sort of moving out for. I'm not entirely sure. Pinocchio did sort of like call out to me, maybe just because of what we talked last week with Kronos, and just because of the. It's clearly a full-on adaptation because it's not like the original material. But part of me is sticking with the Whale because when it showed at the London Film Festival and I saw the reviews, there were enough people that were like, "I don't like it. It's written too pretentious." And when stuff is written too pretentious, that sort of is like, well, that is bait for the screenplay people to go, "Oh, that's what I've written."
Well, I was trying to think, and maybe we had this conversation before, but I don't remember. Has an Aronofsky movie ever gotten into screenplay?
Ooh,
I want to say
question.
not, because Black Swan didn't. And the only other one I feel like could have been close would have been Requiem, which I don't think did. I think that was just a burst of nomination.
Yeah, Mother certainly wouldn't have.
Uh, and not The Wrestler, though it could have and probably should have, but I am pretty
Let's
positive
have
it didn't either.
accolades. Oh, Mother was nominated for worst director at the Razzies. Of
Well,
course it was. Best director for Black Swan. Best film, best director, wrestler, film director. Pi got an Independent Spirit Award for Best First Screenplay, but other than that, nothing screenplay at all for Aronofsky.
of course, then again, this is a more this is a pretty acclaimed writer that did this, but maybe Aronofsky is just a kiss of death in general when it comes to this.
Yeah. Oh, of course, it wasn't actually Aronofsky that wrote this one this time. It was Samuel, the actual person that wrote the play. Um, and I'm trying. Was Baskets well received? The FX series?
I feel like somewhat. Is that the one that Louis Anderson got a lot of nominations for?
I'm trying to remember. It got a Critics' Choice and an Emmy Award win back in 2016 for Louis Anderson, but and a few like Emmy and Satellite nominations in the years after. So I don't know whether it sort of fell off in the latter bits or not. I don't know. Also, is it truly over because it's sort of like the last series of 2019? And it just feels like maybe they'll do another one event. Oh no, fourth and final season. So yeah, it is ended. Um, right. Do you want to go with Owens?
All right. He's also indicated here the changes that he made,
Mm-hmm.
like which ones are different, and it appears nothing has changed on Adapted, where he has, I don't know what the hell order these are in, but I never do when he says them either. The Whale, Glass Onion, She Said, Top Gun, and Women Talking.
That makes sense.
Wo- Top Gun's a bold choice, and I'd love to believe it.
I mean, looking at sort of like what else is in the lineup, I could foresee that happening. It does seem like Adapted is somewhat weaker than it has been in previous years.
Yeah, because when I took The Whale out, I considered taking Living out, but then I don't know, for some reason I'm just kind of, I feel like Living is attached to me for some reason, and I don't and I just can't get rid of it. So
Bry's screenplay picks are Glass Onion, Del Toro's Pinocchio, Living, Man Called Otto, and Women Talking. I almost considered Spoiler Alert as well. I took All Quiet out because I don't know how much of it is going to be psychical. I'm trying to work out what you mean by that, Bry.
I did see a Man Called Otto having a January date. Is that one of those limited in December, wide in January things, or probably?
Maybe.
I just kind of, I like I said, I went with Hanks that first time around, but I just kind of abandoned that movie altogether because there's just no fanfare to it, at
There
least
wasn't with
not
the
yet.
original.
But
There wasn't with A Man Called Over though, but it got all the recognition that it did.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a limited theatrical release December 25th with a wide release January 13th. I think
okay, so they're so
it's
they're so they're giving it a baity release.
yeah,
They want to let people know they intend to campaign it.
and I think that's pretty much the same thing, at least in the UK. That because I think the UK releases like January 5th or 6th, um, which is roughly like the same week, first week of the or first full Friday of the year when Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood came out, which I think was also Sony. So maybe it's just Sony going, January is the Hanks month.
I feel like that's pretty similar to what News of the World's release was, also. Come to think of it.
uh, that certainly in terms of US release, it was a Christmas Day release, and then went wider.
Yeah, I was gonna say News of the World. News of the World is also 2020. That's when releases were all fucked up. So
Yeah, true. But I think that had a sort of a release there. Uh, Back to the comments. Oh, physical. But it took All Quiet out because I don't know how much of it's going to be physical. Uh,
oh well, I would counter that with 1917 getting in
yeah,
screenplay.
true. Uh,
And really, The Revenant as well. The Revenant did have like a lot of monologues in it, but it's also because I do that same thing also where it's if a movie's like physical enough without dialogue, I do question how it'll do here, and it does pretty much seem to be 50-50 whether a movie with not a lot of dialogue gets in screenplay versus when it won't.
Josephine says, imagine if instead of the whale emoji, winning actor and makeup, Colin Farrell wins Best Actor and Batman wins makeup.
I'd be
I mean,
down.
it's feasible. Or why not both? I mean, obviously it can't win, but like, why not one win makeup and the other win actor? In which order I sort of wouldn't care. Also, Josephine does point
Well,
out Macquarie does actually already have an Oscar win for Usual
the usual
Suspects.
suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for it at least to be considered. But sight unseen, I'm rooting for Pinocchio. As is probably a lot of people. Just to make Disney feel bad. Right. We move on to original.
All right. Original, I did not change anything. I still have Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, and Tar. I don't really have anything to add either. So.
Yeah. I mean, I have one change. I've pulled Empire of Light out. Um, I feel it could come back in depending on what happens with Babylon. Because it's annoying when all I hear about is like the weird cocaine orgy, like over and over again. It's like that's all it's got. What? Um, the other thing that does also intrigue me though is, hang on, I have to do it right because I don't have Owen's voice. Bardo. Because apparently the Bardo that they screened at London Film Festival was actually a different cut that was 3 hours.
So is this Inarritu's the Brown Bunny, or what's going on?
But apparently, from those that had seen the original cut and those that were also at LFF, they seemed to like it better. They didn't love, not all of them loved it, but it seemed to like get a better reception than the original one did. Which is always the perils of looking at reviews the first time around, because if all of a sudden
This
if
on
it don't
top,
come out on public release, they can switch it.
this on top of being a travel movie makes it sound so much like the Brown Bunny. It's weird. Only
Yeah.
instead of Chloe Sevigny performing fellatio to Vincent Gallo, it's Inarritu performing fellatio on himself. But I love him, by the way. Anybody that was here for the Revenant season knows how much I love him. But I still have no qualms with saying that.
But yeah, for mine, I still have Babylon, still have Banshees, still have Everything Everywhere, still have Fablemans, but moving in, not because of what Josephine said, but because I heard enough buzz about the script from the LFF talk and whatever. Yeah, Triangle of Sadness is going in. It's getting enough love about how well it's written, in terms of its satirical nature, that I think it's probably something that is semi-Oscar bait to some extent. But something that, if it's wittily done, it will chomp it into. We've seen Death of Stalin in here because it was well written, even though it was an event from 100 years ago. So yeah, that's my list. What is Owen's 5?
He now matches mine. He has Babylon, Tar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, and Banshees of Inisherin. He put Tar in place where he used to have Bardo.
He's got off the Bardo train, maybe at the right time, maybe at the wrong time. Who knows?
Yeah, these festival reactions are really annoying since we've been talking about how like we don't know whether to just take them as influence or not.
Yeah,
Because I was really
Tar could move in as well. That's the thing. Like, we're not even including the Till thing, which I think is also getting semi-limited release this weekend, isn't it?
It might be. I actually, the more we were talking about, the more I'm thinking. We have a number of conversations, so everything gets lost. I think that might be where Owen is right now.
Oh,
See, he had a double feature of Tar and Till, which sounds exhausting, by the way.
But yeah, as we talked before, whereas adapted feels a little bit thin, it looks like we could have like 9 or 10 to somehow squeeze into 5 when we get to nominations day on the original screenplay front. Also, I don't know whether we have like the final dispensation as to what's going on with Banshees, as whether it's adapted or original. I know that Searchlight have put it forward in their FYC as original, so I'm going on that. But if all of a sudden like the script, the Writers Guild are just like, no, it's adapted. How, what if it won adapted at the WGA, but then original like everywhere else? What would that mean? Just
It's like we were saying. That's kind of isn't that kind of the reverse of what happened to Moonlight, if I remember correctly?
oh, I'm trying to remember.
Because Moonlight's Oscar was definitely for adapted, but I want to say it was original in most other places.
Let's have a quick check. No, I don't want themes. I want accolades. Oh wow, it's its own Wikipedia page. There's so many accolades for it. So Academy Awards, it was adapted. Yeah, Austin Film Critics put it as original. Critics' Choice have it as original, which he didn't win. Golden Globes had it as that screenplay. I forgot they bung them together. Did BAFTA not have it? BAFTA had it original, but it didn't win there either.
Yeah, See Manchester by the Sea probably got most of those.
It won original. Yeah, so it won original at WGA, and then won adapted. So that's the only other time, at least in recent memory, that it's won from 2 different categories over the same award season. So, yeah, Banshees might be one of them again. Except the other way round.
Another thing I was going to mention, we were talking about early reactions, was I really wasn't sure like how much to believe the Academy will agree with everybody else when it comes to Empire of Light. Because you look at everything involved in Empire of Light. You got the cast, you got Coleman at the front of it, you've got Mendez. I think Deakins shot it. And and it's about, like a movie theater in the 80s. All I can think is, what the hell went wrong? I'm very curious to find out what happened to it.
Yeah, Monica Dolan in supporting cast, Toby Jones, Colin Firth, Tom Brooke.
The only thing I can think of that could possibly go wrong is if it just bored the shit out of people or something, because nothing else seems possible. That seems like a home run easily with everything involved. So when I'll just say up front, I abandoned Empire of Light completely. It was really hard to let go of Coleman since Coleman's got so much love right now with them in general. But yeah, that's so weird what happened to that movie and how that's the reaction that it's getting, and how it could be something that the Academy flips the script on and they say, "Oh, well, fuck everybody else. We dig it. We'll give it everything."
Dare I say,
like,
is it too British for some of the critics?
The Academy of the '90s would think not.
Because it is revolved, Yeah, but I don't know whether the Academy's like modus operandi has changed. For whatever reason. I mean, the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says that the tribute to the magic of cinema is disappointingly mundane, which I guess doesn't help when all we know is the premise is a love story at an English coastal cinema during the 80s. This is vague as hell. But yeah, Reznor and Ross doing the score, Lee Smith doing the editing, which worked for 1917. Deacon's
It's
back
got to
on
be
the
a script problem,
cinematography,
is all I can think of.
and Sam going back to solo writing, I should say. Although, is this the first time that he's written? This is his first solo written, isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
Alan Ball did American Beauty.
Yeah, he didn't write. He didn't write Road to Perdition. He didn't do Jarhead. He didn't do Revolutionary Road. He didn't do Away We Go. He didn't do the Bond films. He co-wrote 1917. So Empire of Light is his first solo gig in terms of writing.
Be telling. Okay. Yeah, because wasn't 1917 like his, like him reiterating like his grandfather's stories or something?
Yeah.
So maybe that helped.
Bry for the original 5 has Banshees, Everything Everywhere, Fableman's Tar, and Turning Red. So no changes on Bry's list. Mentioning, of course, that McDonough isn't a WGA member, so we won't be seeing that in WGAs anyway. I still hope somebody changes it. There was one film I almost put in but didn't want to fall in the trap, and that's RRR, the Bollywood film.
Mm.
Mr. Top Hat's in. Hey, Mr. Top Hat. Says, for original, I've got Everything Everywhere, Fableman's, Babylon, Banshees, and Tar. Top Hat, if you want to put your adapted in as well, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I think that's the screenplays done. Now we start getting into some bloodbaths again.
Fucking pain in the ass supporting category. The supporting categories are such a pain in the ass this year, like we've been saying, and it continues.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting actress has too many fucking people, and supporting actor has fucking nobody.
Yeah.
And they're both equally difficult because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting actors actually pissing me off, but okay. But before we get there, let's just take our wild stabs in the dark at supporting actress, because it could just literally be one. It could be 5 of like 20 people, much like the leading category. I don't even remember. Did I say I only made one change? Oh, I guess I did. Okay. I feel like I made more changes, but I guess just one. Who the hell did I even take out? I don't know. Okay, so I know who I put in. I don't know what influenced me to do that, but I have Jessie Buckley for Women Talking, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Claire Foy for Women Talking, Samantha Morton for She Said, and Sadie Sink for The Whale. Well, the first thing that's a pain in the ass here is that we have multiple people that could get in for the same movie, like how a lot of people are saying Hong Chow for The Whale instead of Sadie Sink. Could be both, could be neither. Who the fuck knows? I'm not really sure what it is that drove me to Sadie Sink instead. I don't. Maybe it's because Hong Chow's snub for Downsizing is still hanging over me, where it's like for some reason, because of that, and even though Downsizing was a not well liked movie anyway, it's like my brain just automatically says, "Oh, they don't like Hong Chow," so she just will never have a chance again because of Downsizing. I don't think that's the case. I'm just saying that could be my subconscious doing weird shit. But also the fact that Sadie Sink is kind of on the rise, and they love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I was starting to wonder if I and most of us are putting too much stock in Women Talking getting more than one in, because it just seems so like I feel like I'm doing it too nonchalantly. Because I think but the first time we did this, I had Buckley and Mara, which I'm glad I made the change I did now that we know what we know about Mara. And then Claire Foy started getting brought up. So I guess, and based on the McDormand thing we were talking about, I guess they're the two safest ones to go to. But like I said, that's even if 2 get in for Women Talking, which we could just be blindly relying on. I can't, having read She Said's book, I can't put down the Samantha Morton thing. Because that's going to be a really big part of it, especially if she gets it. Something else occurred to me, but then I realized it was very brief. I just happened to be, I was looking for She Said's runtime for some reason. Um, and I noticed on the Wikipedia cast list, it was going into, we were talking about She Said, and it's like, how do you make a movie like that? Like, do the actresses play themselves? Like, how do you even do that? So apparently Rose McGowan is a voice on the phone and is an actress, but Ashley Judd apparently plays herself, and that's gonna be. And so my first question was, "Holy shit, can you get nominated for playing yourself?" But then, but then it occurred to me, I think you can't. I think there might be a rule against it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but because that's gonna be, those should be some intense scenes. Ashley Judd playing herself in that movie. But Samantha Morton should have an equally big part. So I'm gonna stick with her honestly until the wheels fall off. So and the reason I jumped on the Carrie Condon thing, I didn't last time. Um, the thing that convinced me, and I know they were just doing their jobs selling the movie, but they sold it very well. I had seen some people talking about Carrie Condon and Banshees, and I was like, well, I'm sure that's for a reason, but I'm gonna go whoever the hell I had before that I don't even remember now. So, the beautiful thing about Banshees is that Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson have been doing the talk show circuit together, which has been gold up to this point. And I think it was the Seth Meyers interview. I think was the one I was watching, and they basically detoured the conversation to praise Carrie Condon and talk about how she has a scene that had the whole crew crying. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna put her.
Yeah. There's another name that I had on my that's come into my do they move in, do they move out list. Um, I'm that unsure. I just stuck with the five of Buckley for Women Talking, Lashana Lynch for Woman King, Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, Sadie Sink for Whale, and Jean Smart for Babylon. But uh, Bry does mention AJ that you took out Lu Jun Lee
That's right.
for Babylon.
That's one of those things too, where it's like because literally nobody else was saying it, I really wanted to hang on to it. But then it was like when the Carrie Condon thing came up, it was like all right, maybe we should come back to reality. Because the
Yeah,
thing about
exactly.
it is that I'm not going in on Babylon for acting at all. Lee Jun Lee was the only one I was going for that,
Yeah.
and it was like, well, that probably doesn't add up too much. I mean, weirder things have probably happened because I really thought this was going to finally be the time I go for Stephanie Shu because I keep bringing her up. I keep calling her the daughter. I finally learned her fucking name. Uh, for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I was positive I was putting her in this time, and for I imagine it would have been Sadie Sink that I dropped, but for some reason I couldn't bring myself to do that. And I was actually gonna maybe go the Mulligan route and have instead of Women Talking be the one that doubles up, be She Said be the one that doubles up. If we're under the impression Mulligan's going supporting, which I can't remember if that's ever been confirmed or not, but so yeah, just I mean, I'm glad that we have such an embarrassment of riches, but also fuck this category as far as doing predictions.
I still find it weird that we don't have a premiere date for Babylon. Yet somehow people have seen it. Or something. You'd have thought they want to, like, push it. It is as if Apple aren't even, or slash, was, is it Appling? Or is it just Paramount and they're actually cinemaing it? I'm
I'm
trying to.
thinking it's just Paramount.
I lose track because Paramount sell off half of their stuff so much to streaming services. It's just like. I guess that's also the problem. Like, they've got a big popular film like Top Gun, and then they've got this, which like most people probably won't like, unless it's really Wolf of Wall Street esque, which the rumors are to be believed. Top Hat have adapted The Sun. You sticking with that? All right. The Whale, women talking glass onion, and she said. And then on the supporting actress front, Bry has Buckley for women talking, Condom for Banshees, Foy for women talking, Nina Hoss for Tar, and Stephanie Zhu for Everything Everywhere. From what I heard, Samantha Morton's in it for about 10 minutes.
I mean, if you want to talk about Viola Davis and Doubt, we can.
Yeah, it's about...
Or Beatrice Straight, for that matter.
Judi Dench, I think, was less than that, but
yeah,
somewhere in that region. Top Hat has Buckley and Foy, Kirby for The Sun, Hassao and Hong Chow for The Whale. Bry also says I saw a source that said Mulligan is trying to run supporting and Zoe Kazan is going as leading, but considering it's on Gold Derby, wait until the FYC shows up.
Fucking Gold Derby.
So we'll see. Right. Now to... See, in this case, it's probably, again... I think it's starting to sort of bowl out into a 5, but it feels like supporting actor is like, who needs to be put in to make it a list?
Yeah, here's the thing about supporting actor. This annoying category. I basically have a 4. I mean, I have a 5, but I have a 4 because there's the 4 here that I'm okay with, and I have my 5th one. But here's the thing: is I'm saying my 5th one with no belief in it, not a single shred of belief at all. Okay, I'm just giving you a 5th because we need the spot.
Tier list this style. Who are the 4 that you are confident in?
I'll tell you this: I didn't change anything from last time.
Okay.
The 4 are Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Brendan Gleeson for Banshees, Ki Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. The 5th one's still Barry Keoghan for Banshees, who I have no faith in. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. We got Brad Pitt in Babylon. Like I said, for some reason, I'm just not jumping on Babylon for acting. I don't, and it's, you would think the kind of movie that it is, the story that it's telling, you'd think we'd be all over that. And with Chazelle, having 2 acting wins under his belt already, with 3 movies. But I don't know, for some reason, I cannot bring myself to say Babylon will sweep up acting nominations. I don't know where that's coming from. It's just like I go to do it, and it's like I just feel like it's. I don't know if I'm thinking it's too obvious. I don't know. And for some reason, I cannot seem to jump on this Judd Hirsch thing either. It just feels like, I think the thing with Judd Hirsch is I can't take myself away from Dano, especially with the reputation he's been building up to this point. The fact that Paul Dano still hasn't been nominated is something that just doesn't even occur to me sometimes. So
yeah, it's like certainly, despite There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. There Will Be Blood, Love and Mercy. But the thing here is I keep feeling like it's going to be a Belfast situation where if Dano gets in, Dano will get in. But if Dano doesn't get in, then Hirsch will, without both of them. It'll either be like, I don't know. Because I feel like the only way Hirsch gets in is if he bumps out Dano. Belfast style. So, with Dench and Balfe last year. So, I don't know. I fucking hate this category this year because that's the thing. Here's the reason I'm saying I'm basically giving you 4, with Barry Keoghan being my 5th, is I have no faith in Barry Keoghan, but the thing is since I don't have faith in Pitt and I don't have faith in Hirsch, technically my actual prediction is there's a 5th one that's not on the radar yet, that hasn't even been mentioned yet, that will come in very late.
Huh.
And I have no fucking idea who that is. Not even a little bit. I don't even know. I almost want to gravitate towards Glass Onion, but I'm kind of having the problem with Glass Onion that I am with Babylon. I go to say somebody from it, and it's just like that just doesn't feel right. Like it just doesn't feel like it fits. I don't know, even though it should. I don't know. I don't know.
Something to also note: Owen supporting actress picks we missed.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what he's got here. Let's see what he filled in the blank with.
Oh, actress.
Oh, shit. Oh fuck.
We missed that one.
Oops.
We got too into discussing
Yep.
the like
That's what we
complicated
did.
nature of like the
Yep.
fact that I'm pretty sure with all my 5 films as well, maybe bar Glass Onion, there's at least 2 or 3 that could be considered for supporting.
So Owen doesn't get self-conscious that we accidentally skipped him just now. Here's the thing. Technically, we didn't skip him. We were just in the supporting actor discussion, and my picks just happened to come up in that discussion. So
Yeah.
technically, I didn't even. That wasn't a technical reveal. That was just part of the conversation. But Owen's supporting actress picks are Jessie Buckley for Women Talking, Hong Chow for The Whale, Janelle Monáe for Glass Onion, Jean Smart for Babylon, and Claire Foy for Women Talking. So.
In terms of my supporting actor, I actually moved out Barry Keoghan. So it is now Paul Dano for Fablemans. Although again, I'm sort of like Hirsch is sort of creeping up, and I'm just wondering whether that is more of a likely one, maybe going with the older actor, despite Dano being deserving of one. Gleason for Banshees, Woody Harrelson for Triangle of Sadness, Mark Strong for Tar, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. Because it's the only man that they're even trying to put in. And I feel it needs to be sort of said that there are also men that are sort of behind the speaking out sort of stuff and helping the cause. It's not all women. And I've heard a lot of good things as well about Wishaw's performance. As well.
Wishaw kind of falls into that Dano category where it's like it's kind of just only it's been a matter of time too that he would show up here at some point.
Yeah. He's done a lot of good stuff over the last few years. That's another one that they're showing over here. What was that film he was in last year? That indie film? I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. I can't be bothered to bring up the page that it is on. That's it. Surge. Surge, about the mentally ill man going on a bold and reckless journey over like one night through London. Which I heard again. You like the Wishaw's performance is what keeps you hooked into the film, sort of thing. So yeah, Bry's predictions on supporting actor are Gleason for Banshees, Hirsch for Fablemans, Ki-Hu Kwan in his lead according to AJ.
I stand by that.
Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. And Top Hat has Kwan, Dano, Whishaw, Gleason, and we're going with Hirsch for now. And then, like in Indiana Jones style, for now, top man.
And how boring of a race is it going to have to be if supporting actress and supporting actor double up?
I mean,
like
honestly, might be a case though. We might have 2 Banshees and 2 Fablemans, so we could have only 3 films in consideration.
And then Women Talking and She Said could just control supporting actress completely.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh God.
So
I'm already. It's October. I'm already tired of this season.
we're, we're already exhausted, and now we get to actress. Get more exhausted.
Jeez.
Yay!
Nice.
Boo!
All right. Well, once again, much like supporting actor, I'm pretty married to four of them. It's a matter who the fifth one is. But unlike supporting actor, we don't know what the hell to do. So many choices.
Oh, hold on. Owen's picks. Before we get to, we didn't do Owen's supporting actor. I should probably do them and then go to chat because then we just get it out the way.
All right. He had. I'm not surprised. He has Paul Dano for The Fablemans, Brendan Gleeson for Banshees, Barry Keoghan for Banshees, Brad Pitt for Babylon, and Wishaw. Uh, who's the big one he left out? He's not going Ki Kwan. I think we
Right.
know why that is.
I mean, that's another one that might crop into my five eventually, but I'm just seeing whether like it is gonna have enough legs to it, and it isn't just like pushing Michelle Yeoh. But yeah, go ahead with actress now.
Well, it's funny you mentioned legs because that's exactly the conversation I want to have about my fifth pick for actress because I took Coleman out obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a struggle, but I took Coleman out. Um, the question about where the Woman King stands
Yeah.
because the Woman King could be a fleeting thing. It could be something like it was a case where it was like it was really big. Everybody was praising it. Everybody was talking about it. And then I swear to you, as soon as I saw a YouTube ad that said everyone can't stop talking about the Woman King, I have not seen an ad for the Woman King since, and I have not heard anybody talk about the Woman King since. But that was at the end of its run. It had been out for like maybe a month when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is the Woman King the kind of thing that had a lot of buzz at one time, had a big burst here, and then it's just going to kind of dissipate, or is it going to come back around? Because I don't think it's doing the thing we talked about with Everything Everywhere All at Once is doing, or like Get Out did, where it's like it starts off as a burst, and then you think it's going to die down, but it doesn't. It just gets stronger, like Everything Everywhere All at Once and Get Out did, and stuff like that. That ended up making it all the way, or potentially all the way in Everything Everywhere All at Once's case. Getting ahead of myself, but I could see the Woman King being that movie that has a big burst, then vanishes, then comes back around when like industry awards are coming out. So that explains a couple of the choices that I made that are coming up. So I have Kate Blanchett for Tar, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Danielle Deadwyler for Till, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I found it interesting that Davis's role wasn't as showy as I thought it would be, and how it's definitely an ensemble movie, and how that could potentially do that. But at the same time, I started thinking about her for Ma Rainey, where Ma Rainey was absolutely an ensemble movie, and Ma Rainey absolutely had another performance in it that was taking up a lot of attention, and she still won one SAG. So the respect for Viola Davis is definitely there. So that on top of the attention that the Woman King got that could circle back around and continue with the industry is making me saying her for now. And the other four who I've who I'm just confident in.
Yeah. Um. I don't think I changed mine at all. I stayed with Blanchett for Tar, Coleman for Empire of Light, Debweiler for Till, Michelle Williams for Fablemans, and Yeoh for Everything Everywhere. Because I'm just not sure like who is gonna be prime position for that slot because I think there's a more. I feel more of a chance of Viola getting in, sort of producing the film. Um, Especially considering, the supposed historical inaccuracies that are in it, that are sort of to some extent presented as
Well,
if they actually happened.
it seems like the internet are the only people that are really pissed off about that. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's like, well, they have done like some of the historian stuff, but like some of the touches are slightly different. Like how something like some of the characters that are in it are probably inspired by others and whatever, but they haven't, just to like cover their asses, they've changed the names of them just in case it isn't exactly as what was portrayed.
Yeah, because I mean, we did. I mean, once again, this was the '90s, but we do live in a world where Braveheart is a Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but the problem is most people think that's historically accurate. That's the thing. But in this day and age where alternative facts and everything.
yeah, what we need to do is go back in time and have the internet be as big as it is now, and see if Braveheart still wins Best Picture. Mind you, we're talking about 1995 Mel Gibson, by the way, not current Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
On your choice, I was just going to add, I do think, even though I took her out, that if anybody is going to persevere through bad reviews for the movie and get in, it would be Olivia Colman.
Yeah. She's because, she's having to take up the slack, you see, because Meryl Streep isn't running, and Jennifer Lawrence isn't, I guess, running, even though Causeway. I mean, we'll see if it suddenly shows up.
Okay. If there is anybody else besides Coleman that could potentially maybe persevere through bad reviews, it would be Ana de Armas, because people will watch that movie and just say like, well, they'll feel bad enough for her. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Blonde has left way too bad of a taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of people that were hoping, that would be a better portrayal. And then when it came out and it was basically Red Shoe Diaries, like, oof.
Yeah. And I don't want to like, I know people are saying like, Ana de Armas is kind of culpable for doing it, but at the same time, it is like, oh God, where was I even going with that? I was basically going to say that as far as the bad treatment it's getting, Blonde is getting what it deserves. Like that, it can just go straight to hell. Okay,
I thought this was a return. This could be a return to form for Andrew Dominic, and then I saw like the first 15 minutes. I was like, no, this is not Gattaca. This is all that weird, like unfaithful, like shit that he did in the like early 2000s that made him not do films for like a decade.
All right, let's do Owens before I forget.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, very similar. He's got Kate Blanchett for Tar, Danielle Deadwyler for Till, who he just put Deadwyler in place of Coleman, and then Michelle Williams, Margot Robbie, Michelle Yeoh. There's a lot of L's in there: Danielle, Michelle, and another Michelle.
There's a lot of L's. What did you do? What the fuck? Isabelle Huppert. L. Bry has for actress Naomi Ackie for I Want to Dance with Somebody, Kate Blanchett for Tar, Daniel Deadwyler for Till, Michelle Williams in her supporting performance in The Fableman. Yep, category fraud. Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think I would rather see a supporting performance get in leading than a leading performance get in supporting, because like it just shows how good the supporting performance is that it can be put up there with leading performances.
Yeah. Top Hat has Blanchett, Debweiler, Robbie, Williams, and Yo. I feel Woman King's advertising made it too much like a summer action movie, and it hurt it to be taken seriously. I mean, that was the problem though,
It
because
sounds
I
like
think that they had to do that because that was what maybe the biggest release of September. If you don't
it
count, in
also,
fact, probably Smile would have been the last weekend in September. So if you want to carry it over, that would probably be the biggest. I don't know.
if you take out the history controversy, I feel like it was taken more or less seriously, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, it was an historical epic. It's just it was. I guess. Part of me wonders whether they, because it's historical epic, they expect it to be longer. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it made its money back. It had a budget of about 50 million, and
Yeah,
um,
it looked a lot more expensive than it was. That was impressive.
it was 50 million. It's taken roughly about 83 now. Um, I feel if there is a black story to get behind, this until I think are stronger contenders than Emancipation, just because of what's hanging over that. Which I feel sorry for the people making it, but he
Yeah,
shouldn't have slapped Chris Rock.
and that's another thing where you'd love to see the parallel universe and
Yeah,
how it would go.
the first following on from Hanks, the first black back to back winner. Um, see if there's anything else in chat.
Yeah, that would have been, especially in the category what it looks like now, that would have been the easiest Afterglow nomination ever.
And Top Hat says De Armas is maybe the one thing people do like in Blonde. And to be
Yeah,
fair, we've seen performances, in not great films, but as long as they get the accuracy of like just the accent, in the case of Freddie Mercury, it's enough
well,
to
yeah,
maybe get
it
a
is
win.
like we were just saying about Chastain being a big example of your movie doesn't have to be great, obviously. You can go all the way.
Well, I'm
But
thinking back to what was the other female one? I didn't win, but the nomination for the Billy People versus Billie Holiday.
no, yeah, I was thinking that, and when Lawrence got in for Joy.
Yeah, both of them weren't raved about films, but the performance was good enough to get in and all that.
Yeah, I would say Chastain set a precedent for movies that got a not great reception, and you can go farther than getting nominated. But like I said, if you ask me, that performance was kind of undeniable, regardless. So it's hard to say. Even though it did feel like her SAG win, that pretty much is what led to her Oscar win, kind of felt like it came from out of nowhere. But I wasn't complaining.
An interesting two-parter here from Josephine. If Till becomes eligible for Adapted and manages to get in, do you think this will boost Danielle's chances for a win? And does this mean that there's a path for Till to make it into the 10 for Best Picture?
It is possible, yeah.
When we saw it last year, it did
And
the whole
I was also
sweep.
just thinking about this whole Aki thing, where it's like I don't know if I don't know if I'm basing it just on Jennifer Hudson for respect, but it's like a part of me is like, are we finally moving on from the musical biopic nominations? And if we're not, can we please soon?
Part of me feels we never will because, of course, the first awards of the season have best musical or comedy, whether it's critics or choice. Um, or yeah, because I think Critics' Choice split it into categories like that, don't they? Or don't they? I'm trying to remember. No. Is it SAG that does
they
it?
they have like that best performance in a comedy thing, but it's like much lower tier,
Yeah,
and
true.
it's not like, and you can be eligible for both.
Yeah. But yeah, partly I think with the Globes, I think that there'll always be the legacy of like something will get attention in that and always be considered. Unless, of course, we just get a year where there is no musical stuff in the comedy musical bit, which you never know.
They'll get desperate. They'll pull out something that has like one song in it and call it a musical. That's what they do.
Most music biopics end up in drama. Um, not all the time. Because was
Yeah,
A Star Is Born was considered musical, because I guess they like
yeah.
perform songs and whatever.
I think A Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody were put in drama because I remember that being surprising because it was like them trying to reach like a turning point where they started doing that.
Yeah. Um, and Bryce says I Want to Dance with Somebody is directed by Cassie Lemons and written by Anthony McCartan. And Naomi Aki is not a singer, at least in her career. Which is true. You know, it doesn't have to be. You know, I will still remember Chadwick Boseman's performance as James Brown, even though he didn't do a single bit of singing, just because he oozed
Yeah.
into the role.
Yeah, lip syncing does not piss me off. And the way people get so bent out of shape about it, where it's like that's just a whole other that's just a whole like can of worms going into musical biopic performances because it's like does lip syncing matter or not, and where's imitation versus like acting, like the fact that Jamie Foxx did Ray Charles on fucking Living Color, and it's and to do the same thing and win an Oscar for it. It's like, where is the? I don't know, but yeah. But
Where's the big?
obviously, I had a lot of praise for Rami Malek, so what do I know? And Boseman and Get On Up, so maybe I. It's almost like I prefer lip syncing. Well,
Right.
speaking of Rami Malek's category, is that where we are?
Yeah.
All
We're on
right,
to acting.
and hey, my brain just completely left my head for a second because we were just saying, hey, can we be done with musical biopic acting nominations? Can this be it? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I buckled last time and I didn't change anything. Because what can I do? What do you change? If you don't go for Austin Butler, who the fuck is here? I don't know. Yeah, I didn't change anything. I'm still skeptically going with Austin Butler, as well as Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Bill Nye for Living, and Song Hangover Broker. Because who else?
um,
Who out there is hanging on to Hugh Jackman? Raise your hands. Bring us Hugh
oh, I
Jackman.
didn't. I didn't mean to do that then. Oh shit. Um, I'd like to raise another, just because I want to cover my covering my ass. Uh, I've moved Adam Driver out just because White Noise seems to have cooled off quite a bit in terms of like talking about it. So, alongside Farrell for Banshees, Fraser for The Whale, Naive for Living, and Song Kang Ho for Broker, I have Park Hae-il for Decision to Leave. Because I feel that there is going to be an international representative in it. I'm not sure which one is going to have enough momentum by 2.5 months away, sort of thing.
This broker decision to leave thing has brought me back to 2019. where I gave the Academy too much credit. There was that whole debate of are they going to go for Parasite or are they going to go for The Farewell? And at first I was like, wait a minute, is that like a tinge of racism in me that I think it has to be one or the other? It can't be both. And it's like maybe they. I mean, sure, yeah, we're at a time now. They'll go for Parasite and The Farewell. They won't just pick one completely and shut the other one completely out. They wouldn't do that. But yeah, then so I've been not focusing on Decision to Leave because of that. So, but it could go the other way around apparently. So, yeah.
Owen's.
Owen's got some wild choices here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. He didn't change anything, so he's been wild for a while now.
It's just generally wild.
To refresh your memory, he has Austin Butler for Elvis, Tom Cruise for Top Gun, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Diego Calva for Babylon, and Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin. Once again, anything Top Gun related, I would love to see. Even though I'm not banking on it much outside of Tex and maybe that big one up there, but yeah, I'd love to see it for sure. And he's gone pretty much all in. He's got Babylon in every acting category, and I've got it in none. So are we the only? I think I like the most realistic thing here is that we'll meet halfway.
Josephine says RRR's a musical, so maybe that could get into the Golden Globes 5 comedy or musical. If it's foreign, remember they have a rule. If it's a foreign film, it can't be.
So weird.
Because that's how Parasite didn't like win everything. Or probably Drive My Car would have probably been a consideration for last year's Globes via Twitter. Dream scenario be Triangle of Sadness to get nominated in that 5 for comedy or musical. I mean, there aren't many musicals I can think of, so you're obviously gonna look at like the satirical stuff. Then of course we also live in the fact that although it wasn't out and out comedy, Martian was obviously considered comedy or musical enough and whatever. I'm willing to accept that there was humor in it. It's just like, I mean, I guess the more prevalent one would probably be Get Out. I don't know how much
Well,
Get Out was comedy.
I remember Jordan Peele waiting in the shadows to murder them if that happened. Like I feel like he made a statement before the Globes even came out where he's like, "You better fucking not put me in comedy." Or no, his response. No, was it they did put it in comedy, and his response was like, "What were you laughing at?"
Yeah, because I think it won. I think
that sounds right.
And that's what his response was. It was like, "You thought this was funny? Okay." Bry has Farrell, Fraser, Hanks for Man Called Otto, Nighy, and Jim Parsons for Spoiler Alert. Josephine says, I know Austin Butler seems like a lock because Elvis was a box office hit. Was it though?
I feel like it was out for a long time, but I could be.
Yeah, but that's because Warner Brothers changed their attitude, wasn't it? That was part of the Discovery stuff.
So another upside to having Owen's predictions up here is that I have my fucking internet windows open, so I can find out.
Because previously, obviously, the stuff that was Warner Brothers was like 45-day window and then was on HBO Max. Whereas starting from now, because of the merger and everything, it will be the traditional sort of like 60-day, the 10-week window. But then the 45 days is actually when it goes on to premium video on demand. You know, when you have to pay 15 or $20 for a rental.
Um, Domestically, Elvis made 151 million. Worldwide, it made 286 million.
With a budget of.
I was just looking for that. Um, I it probably is. If this is if what I'm looking at is accurate, which is now Wikipedia, the budget was 85 million.
Okay. So it did somewhat well.
Yeah, you got to bring in Hollywood accounting into it.
Yeah, like how much the marketing was done, because I saw a lot more adverts for that than I did for other stuff and whatever.
Yeah, if you were to tell me on marketing they ended up breaking even, I'd believe you.
Yeah, but on the Austin Butler thing, Josephine says best lead actor at the minute is super weak, but it's still possible he could pull a Taron Egerton.
That's what I started off saying, and then I got desperate because this category sucks.
Josephine mentions Park Cahill for decision to leave, and Paul Mescal for After Sun. It does have a 96 on Metacritic. I'm wondering whether After Sun has enough legs and whether BBC are going to push it. I think it's gonna do well at the BAFTAs, but whether they can translate that over to international audiences, we'd have to see. I think it'll do well at the Spirits. And, you know, obviously the British Independent Awards and Gotham it's got a good chance with, but we'll see. And Top Hat says Butler, Farrell, Fraser, Diego Calva for now, and Dwayne Johnson for Black Adam. No, just joking. I have Hugh Jackman for The Sun. Remember when he was a front runner? How times change. I'm trying to work out whether the Dwayne Johnson thing's a joke or the Hugh Jackman thing's a joke, or they both are, or neither are. I honestly don't know.
That's brutal.
Well, like everything that I've heard, like Hugh Jackman, from what I heard, Hugh Jackman is acceptable, but the script is sort of like not good enough. For it's like he's got nothing to really go with and sort of like connect with an audience.
That's crazy because if the father was a fluke, that's a fucking hell of a fluke.
Because I've heard nothing but praise for the actual play of the son, just like the same with the father. So it's weird that you get a really good adaptation of the father, yet have done a terrible job with like something that was just as acclaimed literally like 2 years later.
Yeah, because it's not like he went from making a great movie to The Son. He made a movie that was next fucking level, and then has apparently made The Son as well. So he's the Neil Blomkamp of adapting plays, I guess. Is that what it is?
For a minute there, I thought you were going to say Neil Breen. We were like, no, I enjoy Neil Breen stuff. Even though I'm not supposed to? I don't know. Right. On to director.
I almost fully committed to the whole All Quiet on the Western Front thing. But I just didn't change anything from last time. I don't know if that's from being tired or if this is truly how I feel, but I mean I'm happy with this lineup. Like I'm not I don't have like, you know, overwhelming doubts about any of these people. So that's something, right? For a refresher, that would be Damien Chazelle for Babylon, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Todd Field for Tar, Sarah Polley for Women Talking, and Spielberg for The Fablemans.
Something interesting as well on the Sun front, I just noticed on Wiki. It was due to have a limited release November 11th, soon after its AFI Fest screening on November 5th, but they shifted it 2 weeks to November 25th to Black Friday, which normally isn't a great time for cinema releases, but
Were they hoping people would get amnesia from those reviews in 2 weeks' time? Or
I mean, considering what I've just seen of the trailer for the Guardians Christmas thing, which is out the same day on Disney Plus, I'm intrigued. Also, I'm confused as to why you'd release that on Black Friday when maybe you want to give people an option other than watching the football on Thanksgiving. And maybe something like Guardians would like get people in. I don't know.
God, remember a time where the last thing that would have crossed over was football and comic books? What a time we live in.
So I have moved. I think only one. Oh no, I moved two. I took out Park Chan Wook, and oh right, I moved all those in the wrong place. Just as I was doing all that. Right. Yeah, I moved Park Chan Wook out, and Mendez. They could still be on the hunt, but we'll see. In their place, alongside McDonough for Banshees, Sarah Polley for Woman Talking, and Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans, I have got Inarritu back in for Bardo. Um, just because I'm wondering whether him like taking to heart what people said about the film and like readjusting it will give him like compliments for directing. And then also Todd Field for Tar, um, which is getting enough. I can't remember what the release dates are for like some of them over here. I know Banshees is out now, and I think Triangle of Sadness is out this coming week for us. Although, of course, not in a way that I can see it. Thanks, cinemas. Just screw it. Apparently, you just want people to see God knows how many horror films. Except straight after horror, nobody will give a shit. I mean, it's good when we you have 3 days of One Piece in the IMAX cinema because there's nothing else before Black Panther. So yeah, do you want to go with Owens before I get to what chat predicts?
See here. Oh my God, he finally did it.
Uh-oh.
He finally did it. I will say before we go on, I wonder if I am underestimating McDonough because I think I said last time I think it's the 3 Billboard snub that's holding me back because I feel like I should be going more in on him. Honestly, the only thing I can think of, and for Owen's sake, I guess hopefully not. I don't know. Is there a possibility Babylon would like underperform?
It's Paramount,
Like,
yes.
like what if it's kind of, I guess given the extreme nature of what we're hearing about it, I feel like it's not impossible it could be disliked.
Well, I do like the fact that everything originally was like Clara Bow, Clara Bow, Clara Blow, Clara
Well,
Blow,
yeah, but
Clara
both.
Blow as well. Yes. But apparently we now have a cast list, and nobody has like famous names anymore. They are all weird, ambiguous names. So Clara Bow was not doing the blow. So I don't know.
Um, so Owen's choices are Damien Chazelle for Babylon, Sarah Polley for Woman Talking, Spielberg for The Fablemans, McDonough for Banshees, and he took out Inarritu, and he joined the bandwagon. He finally added the Daniels,
Ah.
and I'll bet he was just absolutely thrilled with that. Yep, right here at the top of his message. I made some changes I really don't want to make.
is, it, is it getting to that inevitability? Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
a little surprised he went with the Daniels before he went with Ki Kwan, but yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. Uh. Bry has for director. Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front. The Daniels for Everything Everywhere. Spielberg for Fablemans. Todd Field for Tar, and Sarah Polley for Women Talking. Josephine says a lot of the criticisms for The Sun have said it isn't a good representation of mental illness, and was also pointed out by some pundits that the older critics were big fans of The Sun, but the quote unquote younger critics really didn't like it. Which, of course, then makes you wonder, right, what's the average age of the Academy? Are there enough old people in it that will outweigh the young people?
Yeah, because one of the big misconceptions about the Academy is a lot of people like to pretend that the Academy is just like a boardroom of people that are like 100, when it's 6,000 industry members of varying different places and ages. But still, the question remains, what percentage of that is people that have the appearance of old boardroom members? Because I feel like whenever we hear about the new slew of invites, lately it's been relatively younger people.
Yeah. Mr. Top Hat says, direct your attention to my directors brought directly to you. I always feel when that happens, I have to do it like how Satoru Iwata did it in the Nintendo Directs. Whenever he did directly, he did directly to you. I feel like I have to do the hand gesture. Top Hat has Chazelle, Daniels, Field, Polly, and Spielberg. Bryad's one thing I do want to mention that I'm worried about for AJ is that I've heard that some people felt cold watching Tar.
Well, I get. I don't know. I was gonna say if they, I would imagine. Shit, I don't know.
If
I
it
was.
if it's an
Well,
interesting enough story, even though it's just about conducting, you know.
it's yeah, because there's a part of me that's like that movie is like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's apparently about conducting. I should have no interest in this at all. And I've said before how I'm kind of cold to Blanchett these days. But I am psyched about that movie strictly because it's a Todd Field movie.
Yeah.
Not that what I think has weight on anything else. That's just where I'm coming from personally. But yeah, I was gonna say that his other movies did well, like with Winslet and Haley getting. I couldn't remember if Little Children got into screenplay or not, but obviously In the Bedroom went as far as to not only get 3 nominations for acting, but also the picture nomination. But once again, Field hasn't made a movie in so long. We are dealing with a different Academy than the last time he was here. But is a more diverse Academy than what we had in the mid and early 2000s going to be more open to cold movies than they used to be?
Oh, sorry. I've just looked at the plot of Tar, and video games are involved, and now I am more hooked than I was.
God, it's not another L, is it?
No, like, um,
What was the video game shit going on in L? I don't even remember. I just remember some weird animation.
oh god, Sticks. They never specified what the game was, but I was like, that's that Sticks game that's on PS4 that was probably developed about the same time, and I was like, yep, that got put in the credits. um, no, it's just a nice little sort of little surprise. At least acknowledging that like a lot of um, a lot of video games now do have orchestral scores, not just like stuff that's done on a computer sort of thing, which is a nice little touch. Um, yeah. And Bry also took out Joseph Kaczynski out. I'm sorry. You know, don't be sorry. That's what this is all for. We're trying to work out what they're gonna do. You know, and what they're gonna be idiots about. I know there will be outcry if there's no female directors, but with masters such as Spielberg, Cameron, Chan-wook, etc., it's harder to predict Polly than it was to predict Jane Campion and Chloe Zhao in
Yep.
previous years.
Yeah, because Polly could always be Gerwig in 2019.
Mm.
Well, that seemed so surefire, and then Todd Phillips said no. Of all people.
I'm always reserved about Cameron because, like, I do wonder how people are going to connect to Avatar 2 because are they going to, like, remember or have any affection for the people? Considering that this is, what, 13 years? Normally, big blockbuster sequels don't, I think, have, like, 13-year gaps. Then again, that's the Disneyfication of, like, more content! uh, Bryce says Owen's picks feels like the DGA lineup on
Yeah,
director.
I was thinking he had Kaczynski before, but I guess he didn't, according to this.
um, these next few comments are sort of brilliant because just because Josephine said the word ass, the comments were held for review. um, so yeah, with the weak ass field of adapted screenplay, imagine if One Piece Red got in. Um, oh, and then the other ass was saying that Chloe Zhao's win was a weak ass season. Uh, no, it was just predictable, at least in that category. That was the problem. I know it was weak.
Well, fucking Fincher in there. Emerald Fennell being in there
Mm-hmm.
was not.
Bryce says before I say my picture lineup, I almost fell into another trap and said Black Panther, but I'm gonna wait and see what it's like. Which I think is probably fair. You know.
Yeah, we do. It just occurred to me that we're having two big sequels this year to previous picture nominees with Black Panther and Avatar.
But I feel like that has more connection because I think it's been way more in the public zeitgeist than like anything Pandora related.
Well, but both of them also have the whole everybody thinks they're overrated for bullshit reasons thing as well. So they kind of balances out any of the praise.
Yeah. Technically, Avatar's good, but like I didn't feel any sort of connection to the actual story, which to me is one of the bigger hooks than anything else. To be fair, that's why Black Panther worked because it was actually a good story along with pretty good stuff, at least in my opinion, at least. Josephine says The reason why I brought up the age differences with gravitating towards the sun is younger critics are very PC and may not like the depiction of mental illness. Um, I mean, oh, you mean they don't like young mental illness? Whereas with old mental illness, they're happier because it's not them?
I think she might be saying that younger people are more conscious of mental illness,
Yeah.
whereas the older people might be more dismissive in a if we're talking like in a general sense.
Josephine says Little Children was nominated for adapted screenplay, should have been nominated for Best Picture, and I wouldn't mind a Jackie Earle Haley win. You'll hear more about that when we get to the trilogy review from AJ in a week or so. And Top Hat says no more beeps and boops. I'm trying to remember, is that Star Wars? Like that could be anything. Is it Babylon? Kara blows beeps and boops. Is this gonna be like a tie-in thing? um. So we finally roll into the 10.
I did not think we would take this long. I didn't even realize what time it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the
Um,
sort of maybe go an hour and a half, but we've gone a bit longer. But
so the changes I made are obvious. I just turned on. I was like begrudgingly holding on to Bardo and Empire of Light, and I just got rid of both of them. Which I might regret. I don't know, but I have now All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, She Said, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, The Woman King, and Women Talking. I think I pretty much explained why All Quiet on the Western Front and The Woman King are here now, and I think the others speak for themselves, at least for now. Things could be completely different by this time next one, because this time now we're gonna like have actually stuff coming out and us having seen stuff between now and the end of November, I think.
yeah,
So we'll have seen the Fablemans by then, Tar by then.
yeah, I'll have a quick look at the. Your mystery film next week?
The 7th,
Okay, so a couple of weeks.
which some people are saying is probably the Fablemans, but I've heard a couple of things also that might be more
Everyone
independent.
thought the secret film at London. Everyone thought was going to be Fablemans because apparently Steven Spielberg's jet flew in like that day. He was going to be there, and then when it turned out to be the menu, people still there were still there and didn't walk out or whatever. But at the same time, there were people like, "But I thought it was going to be the Fablemans."
I think She Said is pretty soon, isn't it?
Let me have a quick look in terms
I feel like
of
I feel like it's at least in the next few weeks.
this weekend is Armageddon time. Apparently, and it's probably limited to be some extent. I'd have thought. Um, Weird Al Yankovic story exclusively on Roku and Causeway that week. Black Panther's the same week as the Fablemans. Okay, why? Um, the menus November 18th, along with Bones and All. Then Strange World, which will be probably on the animated front, and Glass Onion. Women Talking is December 2nd. When is She Said supposed to be coming out? Let's have a quick check because it's not on the. It wasn't on the list of Wikipedia releases. November 18th. Did I just miss it? Did I just not see? Yeah, I didn't see it. So yeah, November 18th. Oh no, I mentioned that one. Yeah, so that's when that's coming out. A Christmas Story, Christmas. Ah, God damn it. Right, my list. Sorry, I need to try and remember something. I have also moved out Empire of Light. For She Said, so pretty much all similar to the suspects are coming out in these probably across all three of our lists. I have Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fablemans, She Said, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, The Whale, The Woman King, and Women Talking. And then Owen's 10.
It has Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Bardo, Tar in place of Empire of Light, The Fablemans, The Whale, Top Gun, Glass Onion, Women Talking, and of course, lastly, he lists Everything Everywhere All at Once.
The thing that Kermode and Mayo used to do, where it's like, you know how so many films were and, you know, such and such, like Tom Wilkinson and whatever. And they feel that in some cases the film needs not an and, but so and so, so and so, and so and so, but so and so. I feel like with the way that Owen is writing this, it's but Everything Everywhere All at Once. Bry has for his best picture 10 All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fablemans, Del Toro's Pinocchio, Tar, Till, and Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. I forget about the character limit.
Yeah, that's the thing also about him going for Del Toro's Pinocchio is it's like it feels like an outside the box choice, and it's like that's what I feel like I'm missing. It's like outside the box options, but I can't find one that I can attach myself to. I just have doubt about fucking everything. because we know those outside the box choices are gonna come in, but I just cannot for the life of me think of what they're gonna be.
Another interesting point from Josephine: if Ireland's contender for foreign film, The Quiet Girl, managed to get enough traction in an international feature, could it have a chance of getting an adapted screenplay since it's based on a short film? I don't know, because I'm trying to look at the list of submissions here and look for the strong ones. Argentina 1985, which I still need to catch, even though it is on Amazon and I can easily see it, would obviously be a contender. Then we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, which is Germany's entry. Japan went with Plan 75 rather than anything else. Bardo is Mexico's entry. We've got ER with the donkey from Skolimowski for Poland. That's the only reason that gets a mention, because donkey. Decision to Leave as well from South Korea. I'm trying to look to see if there's anything like last year where we have oh yeah, we go, Zambia invited filmmakers to submit films for consideration, which was scheduled to be announced on the 26th of September, which isn't listed, so I don't know what happened there. But again, as it says, you know, this would be their first time competing for the award if it did go through. Which it did well enough last year for Bhutan and the Buminyak. The yak in that classroom. So I'll have to look into that and work out what's going in there. Bry also says, I know it's an odd question to ask, but do you think, by default, they put in Ukraine's nomination? That's a... So their film submission is Klondike, which is about a pregnant woman living near the Ukrainian-Russian border during the Russia-Ukrainian war and the shooting down of Malaysia Airline Flight 17. Ooh, that's in. Um, is that bait? Is that bait? I don't
I was,
know.
I was gonna say, what? When is it insensitive to call something bait?
I know, like
And when can you?
that just sounds very much, in that vein. I don't know. Uh, Bry says I have Babylon as Nightmare Alley, whereas it's a bunch of text that will make it get into consideration for the lineup. Yeah, I think
That's
that's fair. I think Babylon probably is going to have a lot of production design noms and costume for sure.
that's what I was. That's the big question. Also, is what's gonna be Nightmare Alley this time? Where it's
Yeah.
like, that just that's not really on the radar. It's like people like it, sure, but it's not really on the radar. And then apparently it was. I was also sitting here, really still disoriented about the worst person in the world and what it did in screenplay, where it was like we had so many. Oh yeah, okay. So the fifth slot's probably this, but if it's not this, then it's this, and it's like we have being the Ricardos and Mass, and it's like it felt so obvious that if it wasn't being the Ricardos, it was going to be Mass, and then the worst person in the world just came out of fucking nowhere, and I don't know what to do, man.
And Top Hat's picks are Fablemans, Tar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun, Banshees of Inisherin, Women Talking, She Said, The Whale, Babylon, and I have no clue for number 10, so let's just say Woman King.
Pretty much how I did.
And it also says A Christmas Story Christmas, brought to you by the Bureau of Unnecessary Redundancy Bureau. As soon as I saw that was like listed, I was like, oh my god. There's the, it's listed alongside some like Freddie Prinze Jr. starring Netflix thing. That seems a more interesting story than Christmas Story Christmas. And the Netflix one is probably going to be just the crap and whatever. More than likely. Jesus. Who who's signed up to that? And why is it going to be one of those bloody HBO things that Warner Brothers Discovery are going to like, yeah, you've watched it. We're now removing it. You're never seeing it again. uh, um. Oh, and Bryce says, I'm surprised you didn't go with the Sun top hat because you were all in on it. We're off Shane in the chat. Pow, 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 we're shooting. So, yeah, I mean, by the time we get to next month, we're probably going to have some of the stuff in. Yeah, because Independent Spirit Awards, I think for the films, their nominations are November 22nd. Let's just check. So that'd be the week before the end of the month. So then again, that would also be the same week as us doing movie club. So how we do that, we'd have to see. And then
This is probably the least confident I've been in a predictions video in a while, which is now making me think this will probably end up being the most accurate I am this season. Because that's just the way it would work out.
And I don't know what usually happens with the Critics' Choice. I'd have to. When was the last? Was it 27th Critics' Choice? I'm trying to remember the numbers. My God, I remembered the numbers correctly. When were the nominations announced? Oh, December 6th. With the ceremony being originally obviously January and then moving to March. So I'm guessing then it'll probably only be Spirits that we'll know in the film stuff. And then the Globes and the Critics will probably be that week directly after, or the first week in December. Well, in the case of the Globes, it's December 12th, so it'll be the second week, but we'll know by then. Because, yeah, even the Satellite Awards are December 1st, so it wouldn't be in time to maybe influence our I'll sway in predictions. Oh, and Top Hat's now. Here comes Top Hat with a steel chair. Baga! So yeah, I think that's everything for this time around. Everybody's predictions have been done. Mainly because I remember the but everything everywhere all at once. So Owen's has definitely been done. So yeah, thank you for joining us, whether it be live or on archive. So again, shout outs to those that were live, like Mr. Top Hat, Bry, and Josephine. More stuff here on the channel. Need to do my snack stash things sooner rather than later and get them up. Owen has obviously Voices of Liberty stuff coming here and there sporadically. AJ obviously is main sailing most of the network right now with the continuing verses and movie reviews. And
they're going to be versus is going to start being kind of like normal movies against each other again. We've got one more remake one that I have to shoot right now. I was supposed to do it this morning and then couldn't. And it's 4 movies in one. So I pretty much have to do that as soon as we're done here.
Wait, 4 remakes? I'm trying to work out. Ben-Hur had 3. No. Ben-Hur... No, there was that weird shitty like asylum one, so maybe it's that.
Well, we're horror themed now.
Oh. Well,
that helps.
Did you see the last Ben-Hur? That was horrific. Dear God. It's close enough.
We love you, Jack Houston. We don't blame you.
Maybe we do. I don't know. Yeah. And you, as I previously mentioned, you're sort of getting a, maybe not a versus, but a review of Little Children. And in the bedroom.
Yeah, it'll just be a review. I'll just review in the bedroom, then review Little Children, then review Tar, just in one video.
That'll be heading your way very soon. You can find me on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK. Retweeting mostly things rather than tweeting myself, because I feel that's easier sometimes, rather than being dragged into things. Then again, it still stops. It still doesn't get rid of like all the weird ones, like, oh, earn this much money by clicking this link. Like, Jesus, I thought the emails were bad. It's now happening on Twitter. AJ cannot be found on social media, and just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Again, I keep trying to think of other stuff to come up with, and it's just like, no. So, with that being said, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, Lizard!